I have a lot of friends, and all they talk about is Ghana.
All right.
So I think Ghana is making its way.
All right.
Give it a few years,
All right.
and they'll be somewhere.
All right. Welcome, George, to the ABC show. Nice having you.
Thank you.
All right. So from our earlier conversation, you mentioned that you grew up in Ghana. You left about 21 years ago. What are your fondest memory of Ghana since your only experience of Africa was in Ghana? Anything you remember carrying with you?
I mean, I just remember playing football with my friends, walking to school. Obviously everybody wasn't fortunate enough for their parents to have cars.
Yeah.
I know coming back in Ghana, one of the things that I was yearning for was like fan milk and stuff like that. I remember that, eating wanche, cocoa, and stuff like that. Some of the stuff I can't eat no more. It hurts my stomach now.
Okay.
But yeah, I think like just hanging out with friends, and just being kids.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So even though you left at a very young age, when you moved to the US, were you able to tell the difference in the way teaching was done in Ghana and the way it was done in the US?
I couldn't really differentiate, because I was kind of young, but I always kind of excelled in school. So when I got there, it didn't take long for me to adapt. I got there, I actually got skipped a few grades because I was a little ahead of the kids over there.
All right.
So I was always the youngest in my class going forward.
All right. Sounds great. All right, so I know you are into real estate, and which is why you are down here in Ghana looking at how to explore the opportunities available. Ghana has a 1.8 million housing deficit, which is good market for all of us.
Right.
But you're bringing a US experience into Ghana or into Africa. How did you get into this real estate space, and then what has been your findings since you came in doing your own market survey, your own research to move into the space? What experiences are you bringing from the US, and what have you found out so far?
So for me, my experience is kind of using little to no capital to kind of make money, right? In America, we call it OPM, other people's money.
Okay.
Learning the finance game, obviously the market in Ghana doesn't really offer much of that, but learning the finance game in America kind of got me to where I am, right? Okay. You can go to what we call hard money lenders, which are private people with money that give you money to say, hey, look, I'll give you this money to go buy a house, do whatever you want to do with it. And when you sell it, you give me my percentage, the money I lend you, and then you make your money. Right? So I've kind of done it enough times where I do have capital of my own to kind of get started if I need to. Okay. But I think the experience I'm going to be bringing is similar to the US, where I'm going to try to use OPM, where I can get financing and, because that way the business grows. Real estate is not to put your own capital because you lose a lot fast,
That's true. Another challenge that you probably will face is that if you were in the US trying to build a house here, finding the best contractor, finding the best raw material, finding someone you can trust. I mean, there have been stories where someone has pictures of a home,
and it's not there.
And then you come, and then there is even the land is not available.
Yeah, I've heard.
So for me, the trust issue is one, and also the fact that you are in the US and you have access to people who probably hail from Ghana and want to come back and own property, already opens up a market for you that you can easily come in with. How do you intend to? One, you're not here in Ghana, make sure that you minimize some of the losses.
So for me, what I plan to do is once this thing kind of kicks off, I will be living in Ghana.
Great.
I'm a big believer of kind of living where your money is. I learned that early on in real estate, where you buy a property in another state and you really can't keep an eye on it because you have to take maybe a plane and it takes you the whole day to get there, right? With me, what I want to do is I kind of spoke to people here and just say, hey, look, this is what I'm getting into, and I've got some great advice. And it was just know who you're dealing with.
Great.
You know what I mean? Know who you're dealing with. In America, you have the same problem, right? You pick contractors, you'll pay these guys a portion of your money. Next time, they don't show up.
They don't show up.
Okay. Here, they just You send the money, you just won't see nobody. There's nothing going on. And then it takes you all 24 hours pretty much to travel if you're not getting a direct flight from America here.
Yeah.
So I think to minimize those losses, I'll be on ground.
All right.
You know.
That sounds good. I mean, that's a good plan you have in there.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to the point before you got into real estate, because you also mentioned that you were doing that more as a side hustle before you move into it full time. So what experiences did you have earlier before moving into real estate, and how has it been?
Oh man, it's been hard dealing with tenants. You know, you'll have people that will come to you and beg you for help. You know, hey, I really need a place to stay, me and my kids and this. And then 3-4 months down the line, they haven't paid your rent. And I don't know if you guys know anything about the laws and stuff in America. Well, especially in New York. New York is a tenant-friendly state. So just because you haven't paid your rent in 3 months don't mean that I can just go and evict you.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. So by the time you've gone through the court process and everything else, it's 6 months, 7-8 months. And if you are if you own that property under LLC, you cannot represent yourself, right?
Whoa.
So now you have to go and hire a lawyer, which would then cost you about $1,500 to $2,000 US. Okay, and 6 months. So you're out of whatever money they haven't paid you, and then you're out of the money that you have to obviously pay a lawyer. And time as well, you know. And a lot of time they leave when you do evict them, the place messy. So now you have to pay another couple of $1,000s to probably redo the unit or wherever the house is to then put in new tenants.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. In Ghana, so for me, where we are, we pay a 1 year advance.
Yeah, I saw.
The law says you should pay a 6 months advance, but then people actually would take a 1 year. Some commercial properties will take as much as 3 years, 5 years advance. And I mean, what I see is it makes money available to you when you actually need it, but also in terms of increasing your rent when things are changing or prices are going up, it becomes a problem. Would you want to replicate what you do in the US here in Ghana, or you want to stick to what we are doing here? We want to do long-term contracts, short-term contracts, monthly contracts?
I think for me, I gotta understand the real estate laws here more, and then I can kind of pick which route I want to go, right? Because I don't know the market enough to say, okay, let me do a 1 year. And like you said, if I do a 1 year, now I'm locking in at a rate, and I know during November, December, this is really a busy time of the year, right? So now I've locked you in. Let's say maybe I'm charging you 500. Okay, now I've locked you into 500, and I could be getting 15 or maybe 1,000. So I think just kind of learning a little bit more, then I don't know what route to go.
All right. So for you as an individual, now let's put the business aside a bit. You studied business.
Right.
Yeah. So from college, you did business. You've worked in other sectors. So before COVID, then you started doing real estate as a side hustle. What were you doing, and what did you learn in your earlier jobs that influenced you to go into real estate?
Okay. Well, I've always been in sales and customer service, right? I sold furniture at one point. I sold cars. I mean, you name it, I sold it. Early on in high school, I sold knives, you know.
Right.
And then later on, once I got out of that sales, I got into housing, and my background, because of my father, is strictly in low-income housing. In America, pretty much is government assisted. So I've kind of learned the low-income housing market pretty well, where I know how to use government money to create an avenue for myself to make money if I need to, you know. So I've learned to just kind of deal with people. You know, I've learned to not take a sob story, because coming into the business, somebody cried to you, and you know, we're humans at the end of the day. And then especially being African, we have kind of a soft side for our families and everything else. So when I came in, I just had to kind of like say, all right, this is not the approach to take going forward. And I think I learned a lot of, don't take what people say. Don't take what people say to the heart.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine. So in Ghana also, I mean, you talk about low income housing, and I think the people below the middle, people around the middle income level or below the middle income level are the ones who need houses the most. They are looking for, say, a 1 bedroom. If they are lucky, they can afford a 2 bedroom, and these are not looking to make purchases. They are probably looking to rent.
Right.
And that, for me, is a very big market that you could easily go into. And I don't know what you've seen about the lower income housing here in Ghana, whether you've done any study around that so far.
So I haven't. My approach was really to come and take a look and see, what exactly the Ghanaian real estate market has to offer first.
Okay.
Much like America, you can't jump in, you can't just go diving in. You gotta take a look around, and then you kind of have to adapt to your environment slowly but surely.
All right.
Yeah.
What has been your assessment so far? You've been here for 3 weeks. Your assessment of the housing sector and then Ghana as a whole. So we'll talk about, you brought in dollars to change. We are here seeing the exchange rate go up.
Right.
So if I came back with some dollars, I mean, I'm a happy man if the exchange rate keeps going up. Is it the same for you? What is your assessment of the real estate sector? And then what's your assessment of the economy at large?
Well, my assessment of the real estate sector, I think, is overpriced, first of all.
Okay.
There should be no reason why the average Ghanaian probably makes about $450 to $500 a year, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And rent is more than that,
You mean
right?
450,000 or?
Well, US dollars, right?
Yeah.
450 US dollars. I mean, I don't know what that equates to.
So a
in
month,
Ghanaian money.
maybe depending on the level of income. So yeah, if you are, depending on the kind of jobs, there are people who are earning probably $80, $100 a month.
See, so that's
$200 a
even
month.
that's even lower than what I
Yeah,
stated.
yeah.
So to look at it from that perspective, it's like, why are housing this expensive, right? So now the market, from what I see, is kind of made to please the foreigners. You know what I mean? It's more of an appeal to the foreigners, like, hey, people with money, come down and invest. One of the things I've been realizing, not just in Ghana, but in a lot of the African countries, is we who are out of the country will probably become the foreigners in the next few years if we don't come back and kind of try to do something now.
Yeah.
Okay, because what's happening is not made for our people. You know what I mean? If somebody's earning $80, there's no way they're affording $200,000, $2,000
Never
rent
in
a
your
month.
life.
It's just not possible.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm gonna do is, once I'm here and, like I said, I'm able to get a better understanding of the market, then I can kind of pick what path I'm gonna go to.
All right.
As far as the economy, I see that the economy is doing great. Ghana is big on tourism now. Okay, everybody wants to come here.
Ghana,
I mean,
yeah.
I have a lot of friends, and all they talk about is Ghana.
All right.
So I think Ghana is making its way.
Right.
Give it a few years,
All right.
and they'll be somewhere.
All right. So I personally, being here, having done a few startups, I believe, I'm also of the view that there's a lot of opportunities in Ghana.
Yeah.
And I also believe that the return you get on investing in Ghana or in Africa is quite higher than you would get if you invest maybe in Europe or in the US.
Yes.
The challenge, however, is the systems that are in place to protect the money if things go wrong. I don't know if you had any such experience in an investment where things went wrong and the system was there to help you, and then what you think is going to look like when you come down here. So
I haven't had that experience yet. So maybe we can talk more about that afterwards. But I don't know. I guess I would just kind of have to learn as I go. But I will make sure, like I said, OPM is the best way to do it,
Other
right?
people's
You take
money.
the risk with other people's money.
Yeah.
So I just gotta find some financiers,
Right.
and obviously I gotta have some skin in the game.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna take losses. It's no business. I mean,
Yeah.
even what I do in the States, I've taken losses, but I haven't completely lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
That's great.
yeah.
All right, so let's look at the fun parts. You've been here for 3 weeks.
Yes.
What has been fun for you? Where have you been to? What was the fun part?
I've done a lot of just eating.
Okay, it doesn't show on you.
Yeah, I've done a lot of eating. I missed the food, right?
Okay. The wache, the cocoa.
The wache, the cocoa, the bangkon, the okra stew, the fufu.
All right.
I've just been authentically being an African.
All right.
You know, I mean, I've been walking around with open-toe slippers.
All right.
You know, I haven't really dressed up. As a matter of fact, I didn't even bring no dress-up clothes, right? I want people to know that, yes, I've been out of this country for 21 years,
right.
but I'm still African, and I haven't left my roots.
That's great. That's great. It's great to have you all come back. So when you have people who go out there, make it, and come back to invest, for me, I think it's great. Also because usually I tell friends that if you earn $5,000 in the US, it's 5,000.
Right.
Everything you buy is dollar denominated. But if you bring $5,000 to Ghana to invest, currently you're probably going to multiply that by 15 or by 14, which is the exchange rate. So coming back to invest for me is a good one because you're going to get good returns on your investments. You just need to make sure that you tighten all loose ends. And my encouragement is that you probably will come in with a lot of collaborators. So you're doing OPM, but collaborations also somehow eases the pressure on you. So who's done it before, who has seen it, or what challenges they've been through. And I don't know if you've done some collaborations in your real estate job back in the US and how you think that experience is going to come in here to help.
So I've done a lot of collaborations with people. As a matter of fact, I have a business partner in the U.S. That I do business with. You know what I mean? And we're like this. Okay. So I kind of will take that experience and bring it here because, much like the U.S., business as a whole now is not what you know, is who you know.
Yeah.
Right? What you know is a plus, but it's who you know.
Yeah.
So you kind of gotta rub arms with people all the time. And, you know, being a foreigner here, as much as I want to say I grew up here, I was born here, but I don't speak the native language. You know what I mean? So now they're looking at me like, you don't belong here. So now I need somebody. I spoke with Mr. Abanga, which I think you know, who has a lot of movement in the Ghana area. So I think people like that, I will try to rub shoulders with. I will try to collaborate with. Obviously, his connections, which is how we're even here right now.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking to collaborate, of course.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
That's the route I'll take.
I don't know what your neighborhood looks like. Is it more dominated by Africans? Is it a mixed neighborhood? And how business is amongst, all of you within the neighborhood?
My neighborhood, I'm in the suburbs, so there's probably not as many black people, before I'll say even Africans, right?
Okay.
Now, obviously, when I first moved to the States where I lived, there was a lot of Africans. There was a lot of Liberians in the neighborhood. Where I am now, there are a few Ghanaians, but there really isn't much going on as far as African businesses. It's like 1 or 2 African stores, but that's about it.
All right.
So I don't know. I don't think I've learned enough here yet.
Okay.
You know, this is just my first time back in Ghana.
In 21 years?
Yeah, it's my first time back in Ghana. Whoa. You know, and I came back last year, but I made it to Liberia, which that was my first time there as well.
Okay.
So those 2 countries are like where I want to really focus because that's my roots. Obviously, the last name, the Weah name.
Okay.
And being born here, I want to try to take advantage and see what I can do to help my people.
That's great. A friend of mine recently went for the inauguration of the newly elected Liberian president.
Oh, Joseph Boyka?
Yeah, he came back saying that there's a lot of opportunities out there for real estate business. I don't know if you've looked into that also.
Yeah, I actually acquired a lot of land over there. We have, my dad and I have over 500 acres and counting.
Wow.
So I'm putting together a team over there right now because like the Ghana market is starting to kind of get oversaturated where it's overpriced, right? Liberia, on the other hand, is a little more underdeveloped. So anything you take there as far as development, you'll probably be the first or the second to do it, right? Because there aren't many people that are doing it. But what I will be taking to Liberia, though, is just the modern homes, right? Because I didn't see much of that over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There are a lot of opportunities within a continent. And for me, I mentioned earlier, I'm always happy when I see people come back and invest here because that's how we're actually able to grow here. So moving forward beyond real estate, is there any other opportunity you're looking at exploring, or you want to start with real estate and see how things change or go?
I'm looking into agriculture as well.
Great.
I have 200-acre farmland that we're working on. That just got started
In Ghana or in Liberia?
in Liberia.
All right.
You know, I haven't really made a mark in the Ghanaian market yet.
Okay.
You know, like I said, this is my first time. I came here to obviously try to see what I could do.
Sure.
But I learned quick and fast that you can't do stuff in Ghana until you have a Ghana card, passport, and all of that. So I can't just, you know. But yeah, agriculture, and then kind of with the whole loans, using other people's money, we're forming a collateral business in Liberia where we'll loan money to people, you know,
great.
and then they put up maybe land or property or car or something like that. So that's another avenue. And then eventually, I think once I'm here, I'll figure out what's next, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So agriculture is also one as big, and if you invest in it, everything's good. Like you said, you've learned at an early age that you have to be where you have your business. You have to be where you have your money invested. And for a Greek, you can't be an absentee farmer.
Right.
An absentee farmer, you are likely to lose everything with a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So that's also one thing. So even though there are a lot of opportunities, not just in Ghana, across the continent for agriculture, it also requires that you have an eye on the ground.
Yeah.
For I keep saying that if you have a team in Africa, if you have family that actually supports what the dream is, what the vision is, you are able to start a business almost every 2 or 3 months, because the capital required in certain businesses in Ghana or in Africa is not that much. I mean, take agriculture, for example. Unless you're going large scale, if you're doing 10 acres, you probably don't need so much to start. But the team you work with, who takes care of it, who manages it, these are the key things that you need to consider. Otherwise, the money is gone within the blink of an eye. So that's one thing that you have to put at the back of your mind.
Yeah, I definitely will. I've heard some horror stories. I've heard some horror stories. Yeah. But, you know, my dad and I plan on moving down here if that's what we're going to kind of fully pursue. Okay. So, yeah, we'll probably move down here.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I know that a lot of opportunities. I'm, again, excited that you're coming back. And I look forward to seeing you again when you actually hit the ground and probably put up your first structure. Let's see what entertainment is also one big space that you can go into when you come back. But once you're into real estate, I mean, you depending on how you decide to scale up, you can have all these things in one area where you have entertainment, everything, everything feeding into each other, and you become the landlord. So I wish you the very best. And we are more than happy to have you on the show. And we look forward to you doing great and expanding your work in Africa.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me here.
All right. Thank you, George.
All right. Thank you.